So pit, oh yeah, Yinzer Crazy.
Yeah, that's one way to welcome in the debut of the Chris Wormley Show, supported by YinzerCrazy.com and the Yinzer Crazy podcast. My name is NIcastro. You can find me on Twitter at MikeDubSports1. And more importantly, that's at Jordan York Music, my co-host and co-founder of Yinzer Crazy. Jordan, what's up? I can't even tell if you're a Steelers fan tonight or not.
Oh no, this is just the daily attire, Yinzer till I'm dead and cold. Really excited to welcome Chris. YinzerCrazy.com, man. Every week we are gonna have Steelers talk with Chris Wormley, Big Worm, number 95, exclusively on YinzerCrazy.com.
He said it, man. Yeah, here's what you can expect from the show. Weekly throughout Steelers season, we're gonna be sitting down with Steelers defensive lineman Chris Wormley, who, of course, is a key contributor on this team. The Steelers valued him enough to trade a draft pick for him last season, and they valued him enough to re-sign him. Of course, as he's a key cog on that defensive line, he's going to rotate in with Stephon Tuitt, Tyson Alualu, and Cam Heyward. He's obviously also going to fill their shoes should one get injured. He's just a guy that is consistent. He's versatile, and he's a good dude. We're excited to pick his brain throughout the season and see how he feels about the matchups and everything else that comes along with the territory of being an NFL player. So it's a unique inside the locker room perspective we're going to be bringing you here on the Yinzer Crazy podcast. And hey, I don't want to leave out the Maize and Blue fans either. We got Steelers Nation and we got Michigan Nation for you on the Yinzer Crazy podcast, Jordan. And both of them are huge.
Yeah, I mean, he was a stud in Michigan, and no offense to our friend Pat, but obviously I'm a Pitt guy, so I definitely root for Michigan in the Big Ten. If I had to pick a team, that'd be my team. So, Chris, we're excited and we can't wait. And the Steelers are winning the Super Bowl. And like I said earlier, people need to realize that the Steelers have depth this year, and it starts with number 95 on defense, Chris Wormley.
You ain't lying. And I tell you what, this is the preseason show. We're excited to bring you this. Our next show will be September 14th. And we got a lot leading up to that. So make sure you follow us on Twitter at Yinzer Crazy Show. We're going to be doing Chris Wormley merchandise giveaways. We're also going to have some collaborations, maybe some special guests we're going to bring on each show, some announcements. All of this you can find at the Chris Wormley Show exclusively on your home for Steelers football, YinzerCrazy.com. So what do you say we bring in the man himself, Jordan?
That sounds good to me. I'm ready to go.
And the man of the hour is here. The early bird does, in fact, get the worm, and we're lucky enough to get him for the entire duration of this season. Welcome officially to the Chris Wormley Show, supported by YinzerCrazy.com. Let's introduce the man of the hour. It's Chris Wormley. Chris, first and foremost, thanks for doing this. How does it feel to have your own show and to be able to interact with Steeler fans weekly?
It's kind of crazy to think about, the Chris Wormley Show. I'm usually a pretty chill, laid-back guy, so to have my name front and center on something like this isn't really outside of my comfort zone, but it's something that I'm going to, it's going to maybe take a couple episodes to get used to. But I'm super excited, like we said before, just to talk a little football, the matchups, and just to connect with the fans. I know, the fans of Pittsburgh are crazy. The Yinzers are crazy, so like the podcast.
Hence the name.
Yeah, hence the name. So I'm excited to get into it and kind of connect with the fans over these next, 20 weeks or so. I mean, it's the longest season we're going to experience in the NFL, so that's going to be fun to kind of see how it goes throughout the season. And I'm excited to talk to you guys every week, so it's going to be fun.
Well, you're already killing it with that operative word, crazy, and even threw a Yinzer in there. So I don't think we could have started the show any better than that.
Yeah.
But I do want to take you back a little bit. Something you told us on the podcast that we did with you towards the end of last year, a little bit of the Chris Wormley backstory and history. Some people may not know this. You actually grew up a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and I'll let you explain why, but I do know the origin, and it started with a starter jacket from your grandfather. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I think I was in kindergarten, and we went winter coat shopping with my grandfather, and we were at a department store called Dillard's. I don't know if you guys have any of those around here, but there's a Dillard's in Toledo, Ohio. And I picked out a Steelers starter jacket, having no idea what it was. I knew what football was, but I hadn't played it yet, and I didn't know what the the Steelers logo was, but I thought it was a cool jacket, and that's kind of how I started my my love for the Steelers, at 5 or 6 years old. So a cool story, I guess. But obviously, as I got older, I started to pick up on players, and Big Ben is from the area where I grew up, so kind of watching him as well kind of got me into the sport and into watching the Steelers. So, but yeah, the starter jacket with my grandfather started it all back in 2000 or 1999 or something like that. Yeah.
Amazing. Next episode, you got to wear that starter jacket.
Yeah, that's what I think we gotta bring that out of retirement.
I got to see if I can find that. It might be in a box somewhere in my parents' attic somewhere.
Yeah. So speaking of Steeler fans, how amazing was it this last preseason game against the Lions to have a packed Heinz Field and have that energy back? What was that like?
Yeah, the last time I was in a packed stadium was, I think, a Sunday night game when I was with the Ravens. So, they were waving the terrible towels, and the Renegade was going for the team that was trying to beat us. So to have the fans back in was amazing. We got to see them a little bit last year, but not a whole lot. And then, during camp, they came out, a good amount throughout this camp. But to have those fans back that have been waiting for so long, I know they are super passionate about us, and that fires us up even more to not only win, but to play hard and to put on a good show.
Yeah, so obviously you never got the full Steeler experience last year with COVID. What, coming up this year with the energy, you got that little taste in the preseason. I think that it's when the regular season starts, it's even enhanced up to here when Renegade starts playing and the towels start going. Obviously, you've been on the opposing side, but to look forward to get a little taste in the preseason, do you think, what is that energy going to be like?
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I mean, the first game, I think we play the Raiders at home for our first home game, and it's going to be nuts. I know, the Raiders travel well, their fans travel well, so I'm sure we'll see some crazy Raiders fans as well. But I'm excited to see the Yinzers and the Steelers fans come out and just be excited for sports and people being together again. And, it's something we hadn't had in almost a year and a half. So it's going to be a special moment when we run out of that tunnel and see all the fans, ready to go and watch us this season.
Chris, I think most Steeler fans are already pretty aware of who you are and what you bring to the table. But I'm now envisioning maybe somebody who's not tuning into this episode for the first time. I want to talk about your versatility to start with. You're a defensive lineman who, of course, has played all over the line, some end and some nose, spelling guys like Cam, Stephon, and Tyson, of course. Where do you feel most comfortable in Keith Butler's system?
That's a good question because, I have played all over and, going all the way back to high school, I played up and down the line. In college, I played a little more outside and even a little inside a couple years. But once I got to the NFL, it was mostly that 3-4 end. We played that a lot with the Ravens, and now being at the Steelers for the last 2 years, that's where I feel the most comfortable. But I can even in those sub packages rush the passer. That's something I've been working on a lot this camp, and I'm looking forward to putting that on display come week 1.
Well, you've already obviously put out some good tape. You played really well against the Lions and the Eagles, of course, as well a couple of weeks ago. Say I was just born yesterday, Big Worm. All right, I'm trying to get into football.
Sure.
I'm getting lost in the 3-4 concept schematics. I'm like, what the heck is an A gap? What is X, Y, and Z? If you were writing a defensive line for dummies book, and obviously I'm being facetious. Nobody's dumb. These aren't dummies out here watching. How would you describe your job as a 3-4 defensive lineman, especially on the end?
I mean, plain and simple, and to be as dumbed down as possible, it's I tackle the running back, I tackle the quarterback. That's what my job is. That's what we all get paid for. That's what the fans want to see. TJ Watt kicking through doors and things like that when he sacks the quarterback. But I guess to dive in a little more, we run into offensive linemen and we try and stop them in 4 downs. I wish I had like a little whiteboard or something behind the green screen so I could show you guys.
You do right behind you. Just pull out the chalk from your kid, right, and you get some of that. I'm sure your wife would be cool with that.
Yeah, we just painted these walls too, so we can. I'll give you guys her number, and she can talk to you guys about that. But no, it's usually a bigger person plays defensive line, and like I said, we tackle the running back, tackle the quarterback, and try and get the ball back for our offense.
All right. So I personally wasn't born yesterday, but let's check that box for everybody else. That was an awesome breakdown. You mentioned some really key words there, right? Controlling the run gaps, offensive guards and linemen. This is a division in the AFC North, of course, that is full of really good interior linemen and running backs. We're talking the Batonios of the world in Cleveland. You have Kevin Zeitler over in Baltimore, a team that you're obviously quite familiar with. Heck, when you break down the running backs and look at a Mixon, a Dobbins, and a Nick Chubb, those matchups are incredibly, incredibly tough. I'll give you a chance to butter those guys up a little bit. Who's the toughest running back to tackle out of those ones I mentioned in the AFC North?
I mean, me personally, it's probably Nick Chubb. I've had a couple. I mean, he's had back in 2019 with the Ravens. When I was with the Ravens, he had like an 80-yard run, and then the last two games we played him this year with the Steelers last year, he was tough to get down. He's big, powerful, strong, fast, can break a lot of tackles, but I mean, all five of those backs that are in the AFC North, when you have Mixon and even P. Ryan in Cincinnati, and then you have Cleveland, you have Hunt and Chubb, and then in Baltimore you have not only the running backs, but you have Lamar, but J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. So when we got a game plan, 6 times a year for those 3 teams. It's a fun challenge, no doubt, but it's definitely you got to bring your big boy pads and buckle up when it comes to playing those offensive line, and then you got to tackle those running backs.
You're watching the Chris Wormley Show, brought to you by YinzerCrazy.com, and of course supported by the Yinzer Crazy podcast. Something that obviously just went through in my mind was the fact that you came from the Ravens to the Steelers, of course, in a trade before last season. So you got to play on the other side of Lamar Jackson. He's obviously such a dynamic player at the quarterback position. I would imagine there's been many conversations like, hey, Big Worm, fill us in a little bit. How the heck do we stop this guy? Obviously, it's easier said than done. But from your vantage point in Baltimore, I'm not going to ask you the blueprint on stopping him. Right. But what has been kind of the conversations you've had with your Steelers teammates, guys like Cam, guys like, Tuitt, about controlling Lamar Jackson? I
mean, it's incredibly hard to control him, as we see week in and week out. But I think the biggest thing is to keep guys fresh, to have a lot of guys, taking their shot at him and not breaking down, because once you break down with him and try and tackle him, slowing down, he's going to, make his little move and be past you. So it's always a tough game plan. Like I said, those 2 times a year, but when you have a guy like him, you got to respect him and what he does well, and game plan the best you can to contain him in the pass. And then obviously those design runs, it's always nice to get a hit on the quarterback to deter him a little bit from running that play again, or sliding and taking it out of bounds.
No doubt, Worm. Controlling the edge, obviously important. A guy that plays with an edge, Cam Heyward. I read somewhere that he texted you the day you got traded to the Steelers. That's correct, right?
It is correct. Yep.
Was he immediately talking trash, Ohio State, Michigan? Was that the first thing he said?
He texted me and said, Worm, welcome to the team. I always respected you, even though you went to Michigan, or something like that. But it was the first text I've ever gotten from Cam Heyward had something to do with the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry. So I can respect that, and it was a good intro to Cam for sure.
Talk about his leadership a little more, Chris. What kind of teammate is he?
I mean, to me personally, I looked up to Cam even when he went to Ohio State, watching him play, seeing how he played, and just the grit and the toughness that he plays with week in and week out is something that I admire. And to be able to be in the room with him each week and see how and pick his brain a little bit in practices and study of the film is something that I've tried to do a lot, because I know he's a great player and somebody that is going to do it has been doing it for a long time and is going to continue to do it for a long time. But other than the great player that he is, he's also a great leader. People listen to him when he speaks. He speaks with conviction when it comes to what he wants to get done, not only in the D-line, but the defense and as a team. And guys rally around that. And you can't do that unless guys respect you. And I think he has the respect of everyone on the team.
High praise for Cam Heyward, certainly warranted, even from a Michigan guy. That's how you know it's true. And listen, we don't want to leave out the maize and blue folks out there. This is for Steeler Nation and Michigan Nation. We're excited to talk a little more Michigan football as this show goes along. I got to know, did you and Cam do any type of you got any friendly like wagers? Somebody rocking an Ohio State jersey or a Michigan jersey or something this year if one team wins?
Yeah, I think that'll be the wager this year. But last year the game got canceled because of COVID.
Right.
So I think we'll have something a little more, hopefully not money because Cam has a lot more than I do, but we'll get a jersey or a T-shirt and make the other one wear that if whatever team wins. So that'll be something fun to do, and we'll make it fun.
I think I can make it simple for you, man. If Michigan wins, Cam has to come on the Chris Wormley show and maybe dance or something.
I've seen Cam dance, and for a big guy, he's got a little rhythm, but I don't know if the fans of Yinzer Crazy and Pittsburgh want to see that, but
might get canceled in your first season.
But yeah, exactly. So I think that could be part of the wager, and I'll slide that in a little bit and see what he thinks.
Love it, Worm. Hey man, we like to have some fun around here. I know my guy JY has some rapid fire questions for you as we continue to introduce you to Steelers Nation, even though they're already accustomed to Chris Wormley, as we bring you the Chris Wormley show here on Yinzer Crazy all season long. JY, what do you got for Worm? Can you catch him off guard? Can you stump him?
Yeah, I just have a few rapid fire questions, nothing too serious. But if I was at your house right now, what would I find in your refrigerator?
I don't know, food from the facility. Food from the facility, baby
You
food.
don't have like a go-to like after practice drink like Gatorade, Propel, anything like that? Did you
Nothing
keep
crazy. We get my daughter these pre-made meals, so there's a bunch of those. So you'll find a lot of that if you want to try some of that. I wouldn't recommend it, but it might be worth it.
They're there. All right. So if you could go anywhere in the world, what would be your favorite vacation spot?
Oh man, I probably have to say. It's a good question. I've always wanted to go to Australia. I think that'd be pretty cool.
How about Detroit, Michigan?
Detroit, Michigan. I live like 30 minutes from there, so I don't know if that'd be my vacation destination. That's a little too close to home, but maybe Lamar has something to say about that.
Yeah,
we'll get him back here in a second. JY, you could keep up your rapid fires.
So I always like to ask, athletes this when we have them on the podcast and stuff. What if you could be a superhero? What superhero would you be? Because I feel like an athlete is kind of like a superhero in a way. So I always like to knack the brain and kind of get your take on that.
My favorite superhero movies is Batman and The Dark Knight. So I think I'd go with Batman, but then, nice. There's so many cool different every superpower is ridiculous. You could fly, you could be Spider-Man, you could be Superman.
Yeah.
You could be the Avengers. It's ridiculous. So, but if I had to stick with my guns, I'd go with Batman.
I think we can just make like a big worm superhero and put it on a team. I think that would be the best way to go. That's just.
I'll tell you what. If Lamar Woodley was a superhero, he might be the disappearing man right now. But we got him. We got him here. I told you that we're gonna surprise you on the Chris Wormley show at all times. And I tell you what, we have two Maize and Blue legends on this first debut episode. Lamar Woodley, what's going on, man? How are you? Welcome to the Chris Wormley show.
Yeah, I had to make a little intro, man. Y'all was talking about superheroes. I usually stay in the dark, like the Dark Knight. But I appreciate y'all having me on here, man. Looking forward to it. I seen Chris. Well, that was a couple months ago. We was actually at the same gym. He was actually doing stuff that professional athletes do, and I was doing stuff that you do what the people do at the YMCA. That's my new workout.
Yeah.
What were you doing? Playing pickup basketball, taking a nap in the corner?
I'm doing my physical therapy work at Barber's Methods. Just getting my flexibility together, getting all my mobility, just my muscles back moving, getting in life shape so I can walk around and just chill.
Worm, did you go up to Lamar at any point and say, "Hey, listen, I think it's time for your comeback"? The Steelers have a lot of good outside linebackers, but I see you working out. Did you say, "Hey, Lamar, come on and come back and ride with us"?
Well, that's what I asked him. I said, "Hey, do you come and making a comeback, or what's going on here?" And he's like, "Nah, I'll leave that to the young guys." But when I asked him, I was like, "You think you got one more play in?" He was like, "Yeah, I got one more play in me. So, if we can use him on third down or something like that, we'll take him for sure."
Can't do nothing.
So that's the breaking news. We're leaving. I can't wait. We're going to have 10 stories all over Steelers media. Lamar Woodley is returning to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hey, I'm not trying to hurt my hamstring. And every time I post on social media, is somebody saying, Woodley, you out of shape, get your hamstrings together. So I don't have to deal with that now. So I'm good. I'm not coming back with no plays.
Got to find yoga. Wood, have you been doing yoga?
I haven't been doing yoga, but I've been stretching. Usually after my workouts, I usually have the trainer stretch me. So I've definitely been working on my flexibility.
Fair enough. All good insight. Listen, we're not going to keep you for long. I do want to mention to our Yinzer Crazy faithful out there that we're going to have Lamar for an extended interview in the future here to catch up with him, talk Pittsburgh Steelers career, talk about what he's up to these days. But of course, this is about Chris Wormley right now. So I want to ask you both kind of individually to end on this note. I'll start with you, Chris, and then we'll transition to Lamar. To play for such a storied program in Michigan, right? To have the big house, the maize and blue, hail to the victor. And then play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the most storied franchises. Could you have drawn it up any better?
I mean, no, I don't think so. I think we're very lucky to be in that situation. You know, Lamar being drafted by the Steelers, and then me being traded. But you know, growing up a Michigan fan and growing up also a Steelers fan, it was like also a dream come true. But also like this is, you know, most people don't get this opportunity, and it makes you very, very thankful, and I'm humbled by not only going to Michigan, but you know, playing for the Steelers now. It's a dream come true and a super cool experience.
Lamar?
Yeah, as far as for me, I've been a Pittsburgh Steelers fan since I was in middle school, and having an opportunity to play at the University of Michigan and understanding like the tradition and history of the program. Being on national TV every week, having 100,000 fans there every week, and then being drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, which, you know, like I said, my favorite team, having a chance to go there and be a part of a great organization, historical organization, and to understand why the Pittsburgh Steelers has always been successful. And sometimes you can't see that on the outside looking in, but when you're inside, you have a clear understanding of why this team has always been successful. And when I got to the Pittsburgh Steelers, you had a lot of guys there. Pittsburgh didn't have a lot of first-round draft picks and second-round draft picks starting on that defense. You know, I think Troy was the highest pick at that time on that defense. Him and I think Casey Hampton, but yeah, you had a bunch of free agent guys. You had the Casey Hamptons, not the Casey Hamptons, but the Brett Keisels and the James Harrisons and the Larry Foote. There was a bunch of low-round drafted guys, but to understand how being at an organization and taking those type of players who wasn't necessarily drafted high, because we all know being drafted high don't mean shit. You know, you still have to go out there and prove yourself. And we had a bunch of those guys on our team, and you understand that chemistry and that history of that team, and to be a part of it is great. You know, growing up as a fan there and being a part of it, it's unbelievable, and helping the team win a Super Bowl and doing the things that I did there in a place that I can always call home, being right here at Michigan, only an hour flight or a 4 or 5 hour drive, man. So for me, it was a hell of an experience, man. Like being drafted by your favorite team, and seeing some of your favorite players. Like, you know, I come into the locker room, I'm like, damn, they're going Hines Ward. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't know if you should be a fan or you're a part of the team. And then, you know, you're like, damn, they go Troy. Like, you know, let me keep you cool a little bit. And then you actually build relationships and bond with those guys. And it's like, man, you know, you just call him Hines now. You call him by his nickname. But like, I was like, hey, Hines, man, I won a bunch of games with you, man, on Madden. You know, you want to go up to him and tell him what I did.
Man, I'll tell you what.
It's overall a great experience, though, man.
That was beautiful. I almost shed a tear. That was like, you're into Hollywood these days. You're a movie guy. We'll get to that eventually when we catch up to you the next time. But that was inspiring. I almost reached behind me to cry on something, but I can never denigrate a terrible towel. We saw what happened to Lendell White, TJ Houshmandzadeh, and hopefully nobody this year.
I'll tell you one thing is being in movies, me and Chris lighting is not good, but y'all lights look great. Y'all lit up looking great. Chris, we got to step it up, man. Next time we do this.
I was trying to find in the house like the good lighting, but I guess
that's professionally. They got their stuff set up over there. They got the right
Amazon, man. Amazon, just a little circle light. It's like $30. Best $30 I've ever spent.
The difference between professional podcasters and professional football players, we would trade you guys any day. Trust me.
Yeah.
We trade you any day.
Everybody, when we step in the yard field, we got to have our lighting together. So next time we do this show, I'm going to make sure that my lighting is together.
I got you. I tell you what, we might have to have a spinoff, the Worm and Wood show, maybe coming to a TV near you.
Anytime Wood wants to hop on, he's more than welcome. Michigan brother, now Steeler brother, so we're he's welcome anytime.
Man,
I love it. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been an amazing debut show of the Chris Wormley Show. We're going to talk to Lamar Woodley more extensively at a later date this week. Like I said, get you what he's up to in life. And we're going to catch up with Chris Wormley all season long.
Here.
And what hopefully is a successful Pittsburgh Steelers season as they chase, of course, that 7th Super Bowl trophy. Chris, Lamar, I can't wait to get this out. It's been a great time. Thank you guys so much.
Man, thank you. I appreciate y'all.
So pit, oh yeah, Yinzer Crazy. This is it right here, Yinzer Crazy. So pit, oh yeah, Yinzer Crazy. This is it right here, Yinzer Crazy.
I know Yinzer Crazy, but so am I. #1 sports site in the Berg, let me show you why. The latest stories and unbeatable podcast with your favorite athletes. You know you can't pause that. Super Bowl, World Series, Stanley Cup champs. Rising stars, Berg personalities for the fans. We love our city, always Pittsburgh proud. When you're at your job or while you got your cell phones out. Breaking down the touchdown goals and home runs. Predictions and interview, who does it like us? No one. Cheering on the Berg squads, no pom-pom. Don't know by now it's YinzerCrazy.com.
So pit, oh yeah, Yinzer Crazy. This is it right here, Yinzer Crazy. So pit, oh yeah, Yinzer Crazy. This is it right here, Yinzer Crazy. So pit, oh yeah, Yinzer Crazy. This is it right here, Yinzer Crazy. So pit, oh yeah, Yinzer Crazy. This is it right here, Yinzer Crazy.
Bringing the best of Pittsburgh sports. Founded by Jordan and Mike. Now your #1 source for Pitt, Panthers, Steelers, Pirates, and the Penguins. Legends on the podcast. We're asking every question. Best sports city in the world is Pittsburgh. Trust these Yinzers, a new city fixture. In-depth analysis, we paint a clearer picture. Bandwags or diehards, we deliver. Want the best sports talk? You come to my team. Your sports fan cave awakens in 2019. You should add Yinzer Crazy to your bookmarks. Go ahead, you can visit when the hook starts.
So pit, oh yeah, Yinzer Crazy. This is it right here, Yinzer Crazy. So pit, oh yeah, Yinzer Crazy. This is it right here, Yinzer Crazy. So pit, oh yeah, Yinzer Crazy. This is it right here, Yinzer Crazy. So pit, oh yeah, Yinzer Crazy. This is it right here, Yinzer Crazy.